Hello viewers, my name is Zach Hardy, and as you can see, sweatshirt is off, or whatever you want to call it, and beanie's back on. So, I've got the beanie back on. You may have never seen me with the beanie on. I used it during the winter time in Connecticut this past year, and I first started doing a lot of videos in April, so it was a little past that time, so it was, second year that I'm wearing this beanie. I wear it inside a lot. And also, my hair is a disaster today, even before I put on the beanie. So, and also, it's the first time I'm having the beanie back on today. Just put it on, because my hair was a total disaster. I wanted to do this video. Now, this video is being done on Wednesday, November 26th. And I won't be leaving for Intensity for another couple of hours. The snow's been pretty treacherous, and not treacherous, but it's been treacherous on the drivers on the road, still going to be able to go down to the Coliseum where we've got Intensity going on today. And today I want to put out this video. My goal now for unit giving is to put out 10 videos this week before Monday, Monday, December 1st, 2014, because I was not able to stick to the everyday schedule. I had a bunch of things going on yesterday and wasn't really able or capable of doing a Raw review, so hoping to do a SmackDown review, and I'll be motivated because this is only my second video out of 10 this week, so I'm trying to stick to the unit giving roots and, stick to my goal now that I can. Today is the somewhat return of the UnitardZZ Wrestling podcast. I don't know which number this is. I'm pretty sure it's the 7th, so I'm just going to call it UnitardZZ Wrestling Podcast number 7. Being recorded on November 26, 2014, and this is strictly on the WWE. Later this week, I'll be having Chase do a UnitardZZ Wrestling podcast. That'll be number 8 for the USW edition. Today we're going to be talking about 13 topics. That includes one question, and the UnitardZZ Wrestling podcast will include 11 topics and one question. Might as well just get into it. So, this past Sunday we had Survivor Series, and this past Monday we had Raw. So it's a pretty stacked up podcast. The return of the podcast, and there are 12 topics we have to talk about. There is a question as well. I'll just list the topics we'll be talking about. We'll be having a review of Raw. Now the anonymous GM/computer taking over Raw. Was the Authority right? And I'll get to that later on. Daniel Bryan becoming the general manager for Raw for this past Monday. Survivor Series, Sting's debut for the WWE. When will we see Randy Orton again? Ziggler going on his own direction. Can Ziggler pull off the never give up motto better than John Cena? Triple H and Stephanie McMahon off completely now? ? Will we see Sting and Triple H dream match? New rivalries forming, and the question will be, with the Authority running Raw no longer, will the show be better or worse? But let's first get into the Raw review. It wasn't that bad. There were some, funny things, which wrestling is not supposed to be funny, let's be honest. And there were some serious things. There were some storyline pushes, and there were some noteworthy things to talk about in Raw. And one of them was pretty much the aftermath of Survivor Series. We started out the show with Triple H and Stephanie McMahon saying, that we expect this place to go, 2-3 weeks, no longer than that. And then Daniel Bryan comes out to a big ovation and walks the Authority out and announces that he's taking over Raw for the night. Now, Team Authority, he brings out Team Authority from the Survivor Series match and puts them into different things for the night. Corporate Kane becomes Concessions Kane. He takes them from his Director of Operations place and puts him in charge of the food and beverages so he becomes concessions king for the night. Rusev is told that he either has to recite the Pledge of Allegiance or compete in a battle royal for the United States Championship involving Rusev, obviously, and every other person on the roster. And since that is not a topic we'll be talking about, the thing that happened was he stopped Lana from reciting the Pledge of Allegiance, and Jack Swagger and Rusev started off for a rivalry. So it looks like they'll be rivals going into the next pay-per-view that we have. Seth Rollins got to have a 3-on-2 handicap match. His tag team partners and was voted by the WWE Universe on the WWE app would either be Luke Harper and Mark Henry and Kane, or J&J Security, Jamie Noble and Joey Mercury. Mark Henry would face Ryback in a match, a squash match that Ryback would win. And I think I'm missing one. Luke Harper would defend his Intercontinental Championship against Dean Ambrose. Dean Ambrose would lose, or would win via disqualification, and Bray Wyatt would attack Dean Ambrose afterwards. And that sets up their rivalry for TLC. Luke Harper is still the Intercontinental Champion. Eric Rowan and Big Show who betrayed Team Cena at Survivor Series, was confronted by Eric Rowan. Eric Rowan said, he doesn't believes on that attack. Big Show scurried off, so it looks like they're going to be starting a feud. Eric Rowan, his gimmick is pretty much he's a big man with the mind of a child. And that's pretty much all I have to get into. Fandango has a new gimmick now. The Bunny and Adam Rose lost to whatever tag team it was. The Miz and Damien Mizdow, or as Lillian Garcia said, Sandow. Whether that was a botch or or planned, whatever one, that's how it was announced. They retained the tag team championships against Stardust and Goldust. And that's pretty much the noteworthy stuff that happened on Raw. Oh yeah, and John Cena and Dolph Ziggler beat Seth Rollins and J&J Security, who won the vote 94% to 3% and 4%. So obviously we had 93% of the people vote for J&J Security, which was pretty much obvious. It was going to be a landslide. And that was the Raw review, the noteworthy shit that happened at Raw. Oh, and the AJ Lee and Nikki Bella segments. Those were the only things that really happened on Raw that were worth talking about. Now, the one that really caught my, which really is what brought this whole Raw to a conclusion and finished off the Raw was after John Cena and Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins and J&J Security. They celebrated with Daniel Bryan, and then all of a sudden you hear ga-ding, ga-ding of the computer, and I think it's the Twitter notification sound, and everybody just started booing. And Michael Cole doing his annoying piece of, may I have your attention, please? I have just received an email from the announced Raw general manager, all that bullshit. And then to end the show, the Twitter sound just kept going off and off and off and off. And then John Cena and Dolph Ziggler and Daniel Bryan were just telling him to shut that thing up. And he was like, I can't turn it off. And so you end Raw with the Twitter sound fading to black, and then your outro logo. So next week, and probably for the next upcoming weeks, the computer will be taking over Raw, which I don't really have a problem with, but you're going to need to change a few things up from when it happened in 2012, such as you shouldn't really have Michael Cole do it, especially considering he's no longer the heel of the commentators. That spot obviously belongs to JBL, so JBL you may want to put JBL in charge of that. You might not want to have Hornswoggle be the general manager, as he was back when the GM was revealed in 2011 or 2012. And obviously you don't have the same people on your roster that you had in 2011, 2012 to interact, so you have to change a little bit of shit up. Possibly more authority references, and it was a win lose for me. I kind of liked the unfair treatment of the Authority, getting what they wanted, getting the people on their side, giving them what they wanted, and having the others who are opposed to them having a tough time. I kind of like that, but I think it has to be more strict for everyone on the roster, and then that leads up to this reveal or the computer just being destroyed, whichever one comes first, or whichever one you decide to do. That's how I think you need to change up the computer thing, because obviously not everything will work like it did in 2011. 2012, you won't have Edge or Chris Jericho to react to the tweets in the middle thing. You won't have CM Punk to do it either. CM Punk is not going to lay in the middle of the ring making snow angels, waiting for the anonymous Raw GM to give him a #1 contender spot. So you're going to need to change a few things up and change the interactions between the computer and the roster. And that brings me to my next topic, which was the question of, was the Authority right? Would you be begging for them back? Because they said at the beginning of the show, you're going to be begging for us back. And I'm wondering now if they actually were right, because a lot of fans hated the computer and will hate the computer. So it's a question of, will fans hate the computer so much that they will want the Authority back? They'll beg for the Authority to come back in order to take away that computer. In my opinion, there are going to be a lot of people who actually will. And I think it was interesting that that's what they said, going into the start of the night, and have a computer come out at the end of the night. And, they had been saying that for a couple weeks now, so obviously this computer thing has been planned for a long time. It's just never been fully revealed that the computer was going to come back. It was just a question of what would run Raw, and the computer was obviously in that running. So, here's my answer of, would I beg for the Authority to come back? Half and half, because I liked what the Authority was doing. I liked the thought of the Authority running Raw, the Authority being in charge of Raw, and I liked what they were doing with the Authority, somewhat, not to every extent, but I kind of liked what they were doing with the Authority, and I wouldn't beg for them back, because I want to see what this computer does, for a while. But then when it starts going down, obviously the WWE is going to take it off air, at some point. But I don't think I'd be begging for the Authority to come back. I just think I would want the Authority to come back. But the Authority is right. There are going to be people that are going to beg for the Authority back because they just won't be able to stand the computer. They won't be able to stand Michael Cole's line every single, 10 minutes, 15 minutes, however long, or however often the computer is going to chime in. So it's also the question of, will the computer take over just next week, or will there be different options coming along, or will it just be the computer taking over every week? We can't be completely sure. Next topic, Daniel Bryan running Raw for this past Monday night. He returned to a relatively big pop, and he ran Raw for the night. Obviously, put the members of Team Authority in different spots on the card, and he didn't do too much with the show. He appeared at the beginning of the show, had his moment of walking the Authority out. He put the Team Authority into different spots on the card, and then he showed up at the middle when Rusev was, declining to do either of the choices, and then showed up at the end to celebrate with John Cena and Dolph Ziggler. Didn't really do too much in his return, but then again, he's not wrestling yet, if he's going to come back, so that's where the yet comes in. But it wasn't as memorable, and when you're the Raw GM, you don't have too many spots on the card. So it wasn't as memorable of a return as it would have been if he had been wrestling. So that's why the return didn't seem too special. But on the bright side, you did get to see Daniel Bryan, which was, as I said, a positive. Next up is, we're going to be talking a little bit about Survivor Series. Some of the results that Bray Wyatt caused Dean Ambrose to snap, and Dean Ambrose got disqualified. Didn't really give a fuck and just kept beating on Bray Wyatt. Nikki Bella beat AJ Lee after, I think it was Brie Bella. I think it was something about how she made out with AJ Lee on the corner, and then Nikki took advantage and won via distraction or something like that. So Nikki Bella won the Divas title. The Miz and Mizdow beat Stardust, Goldust, the Usos, and the Bull Riders to win the tag titles, and obviously Team Cena defeated Team Authority, and that was part of the next topic, which was the way Team Cena won. Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins. They were the final two because of Sting interfering in Triple H's beatdown on Dolph Ziggler. Knocked out the referee when he came down and had to stare down with Triple H for like 2.5 minutes before Triple H threw the first punch, missed, and Sting countered into a Scorpion Death Drop. And then put Dolph Ziggler's arm over Seth Rollins, and the referee came in and counted the pin. Dolph Ziggler defeated Seth Rollins and won for Team Cena. Apparently Team Cena, or John Cena, is the only one who can let the Authority come back into power. And Sting's debut for the WWE, that was not something that was ever expected to happen. It was nice that it did. I don't know if it's going to be a one-time thing, but it sure was eye-opening. It sure did catch your eye, even if you weren't a WWE fan, or if you didn't know who Sting was. I'm not talking about WWE fan. I meant if you didn't know who Sting was and you weren't a fan of the WWE, WCW rivalries. What happened was Sting was never expected to sign with the WWE because he was a part of WCW. Left WCW, decided not to sign with the WWE, and it's been, 13 years, 14 years since the end of WCW? So Sting signed with the WWE earlier this year, and this was his debut for the WWE. He's 55 years old, I think, and that's pretty much all that happened. Not much else happened on the Survivor Series card. Obviously, the WWE wanted this pay-per-view to catch the eye of a lot of people who are just getting the network for November for free, to show them that this is worth signing up for. Didn't do such a great job with it. There were a lot of spots in the Survivor Series that were pretty forgettable. One being the Adam Rose and the Bunny situation, and the Fandango return. Team Fox versus Team Page, that was also forgettable. And there were just some spots on the card. If Sting had not intervened in that main event match, it would have been probably a 2-star show. But it was decent because Sting, helped save the show, and that was just something that, no matter what kind of pay-per-view it was, it would always bump up the pay-per-view by at least 1 star. So Sting showing up to the WWE was interesting, was funny. Sorry, I didn't mean to say funny. I meant to say fun for the moment, knowing that Sting is there. Sting is in the WWE. He's in the WWE, in a WWE ring, and it was kind of special to see Sting in a WWE ring, especially if you were a fan of WCW and WWE's era, or the WWF era, whatever you want to call it. And if you know the backstory, then you know exactly what this meant, how this would be a monumental moment. And even if you weren't, then it did catch your eye because you were like, who is this? Oh, his name is Sting. Let me look him up after this match. And you find out all this information, all this, and it was really eye-opening to see him return at Survivor Series. Next up, a question that I'm asking myself, when do you think we'll see Randy Orton? Randy Orton, obviously, shooting a movie, should be back by the time TLC comes around. I'm expecting him to go into a rivalry with Seth Rollins, and it possibly ending at Elimination Chamber, or maybe WrestleMania. I feel like they'll both be in the Royal Rumble, and then one will cost the other the Royal Rumble spot. And then the Elimination Chamber probably for the WWE Championship, or the number 1 contenders match for the WWE Championship. I expect them to be in that, and then their rivalry to end at WrestleMania against each other. So I think we'll see him by the time TLC runs around. Maybe next week, probably next week, so that way we can see the start of the Seth Rollins and Randy Orton rivalry, because we still have enough time. I'll skip topic number 8, because we'll go into this one. Can topic number 9, can Dolph Ziggler pull off the never give up attitude slash motto better than John Cena? I feel like it is, because of how much the Authority has put him through and how he's not given up. He's continuously, fought for what he's earned. John Cena is just given what he's earned, and the only reason he owns that motto, or has that motto, is because he is the golden child for the WWE. And that's pretty much the only reason. The WWE has, over the past few months, if not maybe a year or two, they have not really focused on the correct gimmicks. They've just been focusing on their image. So, Dolph Ziggler owning up to the motto of never give up, or never say die, attitude would make more sense than John Cena because of what he's been put through. The Dolph Ziggler, I mean, Daniel Bryan can also pull it off, but I think Dolph Ziggler can pull it off better because, Dolph Ziggler does get a pretty big pop, and, he's been put through a lot he was put through a lot from the Authority, more than Daniel Bryan, because Dolph Ziggler had it just going continuously. He didn't have time off because of an injury. So I feel like he can pull off the never give up attitude better than anyone on the roster. Another question, Triple H and Stephanie off of TV completely now? I don't think so. I think by the time the road to WrestleMania comes, I think Triple H will come back, and he'll be facing Sting at WrestleMania, and I think Triple H will be off for a while now. But until the road to WrestleMania starts, I think that's when it'll be, they'll start doing that. Will we see a Sting versus Triple H match? Probably, based off of what happened at Survivor Series. I'm expecting it to happen at WrestleMania. Because of the streak no longer being in existence, they need something to help carry WrestleMania and help get... I have the phone next to me this time. Yeah, my neighbor's answering it. And so now we have, what happened at Survivor Series. So now with WrestleMania, since you don't have the streak any longer, you need something to get the fans entertained and excited for, and a Sting match can substitute for the streak. I'm not going to answer the question that I had for new rivalries forming. And the question of, will the Authority be without the Authority running Raw, will the show be better or worse? I'm not sure if it will be better or worse based off of what the Authority does. I think the social media and the way that the WWE thinks of Raw and runs Raw with these special guests, I don't think it'll ever be better until those things get resolved. So that was my UnitardZZ Wrestling podcast, I think number 7. Thank you for watching. Remember to like, favorite, and subscribe for more. I'm Zach Hardy. Signing off.